Well, it's been another week of uncertainty when it comes to the stock market. But after an incredibly devastating week with an extremist terror organization cowardly and animalistically committing war crimes against innocent Israeli civilians, from men and women, and for God's sakes, children and babies who were either taken hostage or beheaded and burned, I want to admit something to you all. This video has been incredibly hard for me to put together because if I'm honest, the stock market has not been my focus at all. However, I recognize that I made a commitment to each and every one of you to produce content here, and because I stand for and stand by everything that I am in saying that terrorism will never win. Now I'm here to make this video, and while I may get those unsubscribers for sharing what I just did, good. I don't need you, nor do I want you a part of my channel following me. Now, if you'd like to help me send funds to where they're needed, to the victims of these unspeakable, atrocious acts, email me. Finally, I'd also like to take just a moment to have you join me in a brief moment of silence for all those who have perished. Thank you. With that, today I'm going to speak very briefly about what I think you need to know economically and just get right to the 7 dividend stocks worth your attention and potentially a buy right now. So as we always do, an account update, whereas my account is currently sitting at $117,707.29. As investors begin to really muster up more hope and optimism for a dovish Federal Reserve. Now, I'd like to caution you all as investors in knowing that I still do believe that the worst is yet to come and there's going to be more downside, precisely because the labor market remains robust and only continuing to strengthen itself despite the Federal Reserve's attempt to really cool the economy. And looking ahead into the near future, we're very likely to get another interest rate hike. This further pressurizes businesses, but it is also going to be the beginning of another earnings season to which these times really bring a lot more emotional investing than logical thinking. Now, the latest CPI report, which was released this past Thursday, depicted inflation leveled off, which is better than it ticking up, but unfortunately not compelling enough, in my opinion, to really challenge the Federal Reserve to get them to consider reversing course. So that's wishful thinking. And again, the whole name of the game now really becomes just ensuring that you're loading up then on quality companies that can fare well in the midst of all volatility and see through to greener days for decades and decades to come, while of course still growing. Which all leads me to the very first dividend stock on our list that slides every single time the market experiences darker periods. Omnicom, ticker symbol OMC, which is the world's largest global media marketing and communications holding company with a multitude of agencies under their umbrella, in which they really refer to as this omni-channel. Now, when it comes to Omnicom, I feel the key to understand this business is looking at their book of business, consisting of some of the most dominant brand names across respective industries. I mean, we're talking about companies like Apple to Adidas, McDonald's to Pepsi, and Pfizer, the Boy Scouts, DraftKings, and over 5,000 more, which may lead you to questioning why then is this advertising behemoth down? Well, companies that are shoring up their balance sheets right now usually actually boot marketing right off their budget first, unfortunately, but that's the real deal. So then we get a depressed Omnicom that is now down by 7% on the year, trading for just $76 per share after nearly hitting $100 a share in July, along with a PE ratio currently sitting at just 11. Yet, let's have a look now at their last 3 years to see over 56% worth of growth, which I can say when the market comes roaring back and businesses are ready to spend, Omnicom will certainly be a beneficiary. Now, analysts do forecast over 21% worth of upside, with the share price rising to $92.25 per share, but it's the dividend that we're really here for when it comes to Omnicom, with this dividend yield coming in at 3.74%. Next up, the long-standing, forever iconic beverage beverage behemoth Coca-Cola, ticker symbol KO, which has just been getting pummeled over the last couple of weeks. As we can see, overall, it's actually down year to date here by 13.8%, trading for $53 per share with a rather lower PE ratio at 22.2. Yet an investment like this is more about the longer term growth opportunity and reliability that comes with it, to which we see plenty of it, nearly 40% worth of growth just over the last 5 years alone. So here it may seem like Coca-Cola is not necessarily growing year over year, but they certainly are brand by brand as they continue to dominate each and every market they enter, with their anchor remaining the classic Coca-Cola, which all gives way for analysts to forecast 27% worth of upside to come to a share price of $67.75 per share. Now on top of that, we have seen plenty of hedge fund activity in regards to Coca-Cola at this share price, buying more shares. As a matter of fact, over $500,000 worth. But again, this investment would be a buy for the long term and forever hold. As you can see, they've been shelling dividends out for over 60 consecutive years at a 3.4% growth rate and a current dividend yield at 3.43%. Now, just before I get to the next 5 dividend stocks, investors, let me know if I'm doing a good job here on the channel and whether this content is actually the content that you're looking for. In order to let me know, just simply tap on that thumbs up button for me. Just one tap will keep me creating content just like this. With that, Procter & Gamble, ticker symbol PG, which very similarly to Coca-Cola is just a staple of a name for all of us when it comes to anything from baby products, fabric care products, or grooming and hygienic products, to which I would argue most of their products are within all of our homes. Heck, what an investment that would be then to get into, especially now that the stock is actually down by nearly 3.9%, trading for only $143. Yet holding on to this dividend gem will reward you plentiful, because we could see over 103% worth of growth in the last 5 years, which is why we also see plenty of hedge funds scoring more shares of 4 million plus shares worth, and also analysts who are predicting 15.5% worth of upside to a share price of $166.13 per share. However, as we are of course here for the dividend income, it's Procter & Gamble's dividend for long-term investors that has proven itself well. 66 years worth of a track record at a 5.68% growth rate, currently shelling out a 2.63% dividend yield. Next up, by far one of my favorite stocks, Johnson & Johnson, ticker symbol J&J, which is actually trading relatively close to its 52-week lows, as it's currently trading for $156 per share. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that it should be a buy for you right now, but I will say this: J&J typically ranges from about $155 to $180, $185 per share. And given this is essentially the healthcare leader of all healthcare companies with their medical devices, pharmaceuticals, or consumer goods, it's just a very reliable investment. Not to mention, analysts do foresee it popping up, as it normally does, to around $178.41. That makes for 14+% worth of upside. Meanwhile, hedge funds have certainly been increasing their shares with J&J, at least of last quarter. But what I enjoy most when it comes to J&J is of course the dividend reliability. It's been shelling dividends out for over 60 years at a 5.92% growth rate, while currently shelling out their dividend at a 3.05% yield. But if you're looking now for perhaps a sweeter treat for your dividend stock portfolio, investors, I have the perfect investment. It's the Hershey Company, ticker symbol HSY. They are looking more and more like a buy, as it's been sliding recently from $276 per share to its current share price of $188, which makes it nearly 16% down year to date. Now, given the Hershey Company is a multinational company and one of the largest chocolate manufacturers in the entire world, not only just manufacturing chocolate, but baked products as well, such as cookies, cakes, and chocolatey beverages like milkshakes that everybody loves, it's hardly ever at a right buy-in price. But have a look here at this 5-year growth chart, where we can see 102% worth of straight growth, which makes Hershey not only a great buy in the stores, but perhaps a fantastic buy for your dividend stock portfolio. After all, 35% worth of upside is predicted, bringing the share price back up to $254 per share, with hedge funds also beginning to load the boat when it comes to Hershey as well. However, I want to go ahead and have a look at these dividend insights, as we see Hershey has 13 years worth of growth history at a 9.84% growth rate with a current dividend yield at 2.49%. Now next up, a restaurant operating kingpin that I have been mentioning for several videos now in the last couple of weeks, meaning it's simply just one that you should consider to put onto your watch list. It's Darden Restaurant, ticker symbol DRI, which operates a handful of some of the most dominant restaurant chains in America. We're talking about the Olive Garden and Longhorn Steakhouse. We're also talking about Eddie V's Seafood and the Capitol Grill. So just a lot of restaurants that you've probably already eaten at. But check this out, as we continue to penny pinch because of this economy, well, it's really just hurting consumers and then therefore hurting restaurants. We see Darden down 8% on the year, trading for just $135 per share at a PE ratio of 17.1. But make no mistakes when it comes to Darden, because it's soared over 50% over the last few years. And in my opinion, I really think it's going to continue to do better into the future as the economy turns back around. Now, analysts are forecasting 27% worth of growth at a share price of $173.08 per share. But we can see a mixed bag when it comes to the insiders, which tells me that they're actually expecting slightly more red before they see more green. Yet it's the dividends that you want to make sure to take full advantage of, with Darden's dividend yield sitting at 3.81% and a growth rate at 12.8%. Next up, Texas Instruments, ticker symbol TXN, which I just spoke about a couple of weeks ago, but definitely worth mentioning again here, given the sheer nature of their business within the semiconductor space. However, with uncertainty now mounting, you can capture Texas Instruments now at a better share price, given it's down by over 10% over the last 6 months, trading for just $157 per share at a PE ratio of 18.9. Yet analysts foresee plenty more upside and growth ahead, coming back up to $182.42 per share. That's nearly 16% worth of upside, with plenty of hedge funds beginning to load up on the stock as well. But the dividends is ultimately what keeps me interested in Texas Instruments and keeps it in the running on my personal watch list, with their 17-year growth history at a 14.87% growth rate, dividend yield at 3.31%. Now, investors, let me know your thoughts on all of these stocks with a comment down below. If you found these insights in this video to be interesting, you're going to love this video right here. Now, be sure, most importantly, to subscribe so you never miss another dividend stock opportunity.